Hi, my name is Sally Caselli. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use Moodle or e-learning at Cairn University. This video tutorial is designed to be used by faculty who are starting with a course from scratch. I will be demonstrating how to use the system to give an overview of how the system works, how to add various components such as resources, PowerPoints, lectures, links to websites, articles, and things of that nature, then how to enhance it by adding assignments to your course and enhancing it also from the visual aspect of the course, and then how to add quizzes, lessons, forums, configure the gradebook, and basically pretty much manage a course during a semester. It's important to understand that I'm going to start here from scratch and then give you some concepts and then go from there. So to demonstrate quickly, I'm going to show here what a completed course looks like in Moodle so that you get an idea as to what you can accomplish with it. So this is a sample course that was taught earlier this year. And by the way, you can use Moodle also to deliver an online course. It has all the functionality that you would need for an online course. One thing to understand in Moodle is that, or in e-learning, is that basically everything is sequential. Unlike other learning management systems out there, in Moodle, the students will start with the resources at the top of the page, such as a course syllabus, course logistics, and other components in the course, and then move to week one. All the week one resources will be posted right here. For example, a summary of that week, what's going to be covered, then the reading, what has to be accomplished for that week, and then the various lectures within for that specific week, various blogs and forums, and then even particular assignments from week to week. So the idea here is that everything is offered to the student, everything that they would need for that specific week, it's given and listed under each block here. So that's the major idea. Other learning management systems, they may take an approach where all the assignments are together, all the lectures are together, and all the quizzes are listed together and so on. And that option can be chosen from here under activities as well. So that's one of the things. Everything is sequential. The other thing to keep in mind is that there are these blocks here on the right-hand side. Those blocks can be customized as well. Those are just supplementary material, whether they are for navigation or whether they are for other functionality and information that you want to display for the students. And I'll try to cover those shortly as well. But the idea that I wanted to give here is that everything is sequential, and you have the various blocks, and that finally you can accomplish something very similar to this, where the student will click on various resources and then follow the pattern or follow the path of the lessons or the activities that you have presented for them. So that's the major overview. Now, as far as getting into the system, so let's get started using the system itself here. So just like with any other system, of course, you need to log in. And by the way, for those of you that are not part of Cairn University, if you're watching this video, you can actually, this is pretty much the clean theme in Moodle 2.9. But basically here we need to log in on the top right-hand side. Then once you log in, and this is new with Moodle 2.9 or e-learning 2.91 here, you'll have this dashboard. The dashboard is basically a listing of courses and resources that students receive or view, and faculty views as well. The nice thing here is that you basically, if you have certain things that need to be taken care of, you'd click on any of these items in here and it'll expand them out. The idea as well is that you can click on the course and it will take you to the course that you are teaching. Now, if you're not getting this view, for whatever reason you're not getting this view, you can also click here on e-learning home, and that will take you to the startup view. It's not the dashboard, it's basically a listing of the courses as they are arranged university-wide. So if you want to make this the home page, you can just simply click here, make this my default home page. Otherwise, you'll be using the dashboard that is from the main page over here. Now, note as well as you're getting started with this, notice that you have some links here on the top hand side here. So there's links for various other systems that we have here, library resources, other courses. Also down here in the drop down, you can change things related to your profile and grades. This is primarily for the students, messages, and other preferences as well that you can customize. Also notice that in the very bottom here, there are other links that we have customized at the footer of this site for the faculty. So particularly here, you'll be focusing on the area for the faculty. So now, in this case, what we are going to do is we're going to start tinkering with a specific course that we are going to assume we're going to start working and we're going to teach this course. So in this case, let's suppose that we are working here, and the course that we are going to teach this semester is the test course here. This is from the dashboard view. If you go to the standard view of after you log in, you'll see something very similar as well, the name of the course. So we'll click on the course here, and notice it's going to be blank. Now in our case here at the university, all the courses are created automatically, and they are linked to the student information system, and students are enrolled automatically, and the courses are created automatically as far as a blank page, very similar to this. So now, you as the faculty, where do you start? That's the question, and that's the point of this video tutorial as well. So to get started, like I mentioned in the previous session or in the previous part here, everything is sequential. So you want to put stuff here on the very top of the course, such as a syllabus, announcements, things of that nature. And then on each topic here, on each area, this is where you want to post resources for each week for your students. So how do we do that? Very simply, one of the magic buttons here is by clicking on the Turn Editing On. If you don't turn this button on, you can't change anything. So that's one of the keys in Moodle. So that's one of the keys here in Moodle is to click on Turn Editing On. So click on Turn Editing On, and then you'll notice a whole bunch of new buttons show up everywhere. Basically, notice you have this gear icon, and by the way, this may look slightly different from version to version. We are constantly tinkering with it to make things hopefully better, but just the idea is going to be the same primarily. So notice you have these icons here. So this edits the summary here. This icon here allows you to move this resource. This pen over here allows you to edit the title of an actual item. And then further down, you have here add an activity or a resource. This is where one of the ways that you can add stuff to your course, whether you can add assignments, attendance, the chat module, forums, lessons, quizzes, and all this other types of stuff here. Notice that there is the top part here. These are activities that students usually perform for you. And then the second portion here under resources, this is resources that you can post for your students. So the idea again is you click on add an activity or resource for each block that you are working with. Now typically our courses here, we design them so that they are about 16 to actually 17 blocks. That should allow for the length of a semester, maximum 17 weeks, we assume. If you want additional sections in your course, you can either click on this plus sign, or the minus plus sign adds another one, minus decreases it in the bottom here, or you can go under administration here, and by the way, this is how you administer your course, major settings of your course, and you can click on edit settings. We are editing the settings for this course. So we click on edit settings here, and this is just, again, just to get started here, to get an idea. We don't recommend that you change any of this stuff here, the course name and the dates and all that type of thing, because problems will occur for sure. You can change the course summary to put a summary here. Course format, this is where you can add more sections. So you can add here 18 or more, up to 53 or 54 sessions. So if you're teaching 3 times a week, you might want to make this 42 blocks, and you just choose 42 here. It'll change it to 42 blocks. Then you can change other items in here. However, we don't recommend. By the way, notice there are question marks here to help you with what these do. And maybe consider enabling completion tracking. That then for various assignments, your courses, whenever you post an activity, you can set criteria and the students can keep track of what they have completed and what they have not completed. So then you click on Save and Display. That'll take you back to the main course here. Now at this point, like I mentioned earlier as well, you have various other options here. You shouldn't have to tinker much with them. You have these different blocks that can be moved up or down by simply dragging them. Latest news and so on. And so on. So now we are ready to start this course. The idea is to get the course to look something like this, for example, with all the resources for each week for the students. Now in this case, this is an online course, however, the flexibility is there. So in the next session here, I'm going to actually start how to add the headings for the course. In this brief video, I'm going to demonstrate how to get started with your course as a faculty at Cairn University. So once you get to your course, if you are going from the dashboard, you'll be able to locate your course in the dashboard here. In this case, I'm working with test course. So as soon as you log in, basically click on the title of the course, and then you will be presented with something similar to this. Now the first thing that you want to do is you want to click on Turn Editing On in this course. You click on Turn Editing On, and now we are ready to start updating the course. So now the first thing that I suggest that you do is you click on this gear icon here, or the configuration button here, and then add the summary for this course. This is the heading on the very top. So here we want to add, and you might want to consider here also adding the semester and how to get it for the students to get started and things of that nature. So at this point, all you have to do is you can simply click Save Changes. Notice here as well, and just to get started as well here, you can make stuff bold here, you can make it italics, you can change the font to use a different theme if you prefer, or a style for formatting the text. Notice there is also this toggle or toolbar toggle here that if you click on it, it gives you 2 more rows of icons. In here you can change additional properties, and I would suggest that you simply hold the mouse on them and it will tell you as to what it does. It's very similar basically to items in Microsoft Word or some other application out there. One of the components that you potentially could use here as well is inserting a picture as part of your course, a fancy picture of some sort. And to do that, notice one of the icons here is to insert an image, and then you can click on Find or Upload the image, and then click on Choose File. We want to find the file, and in this case, I'd assume I have created a folder on the desktop called Sample Course. I'd assume that you'd have something similar as well under Documents or somewhere else, wherever you keep your source files. Now, if you go here under any of those, let's see if I can find an image, then you'll click on Upload this image. At this point, you can then click on Appearance, and notice the image is pretty large, so we want to change this to, let's say, 300 pixels. And it's going to, I just clicked somewhere outside of this box here, and it customized the second dimension automatically. And by the way, if this seems complicated, just don't add an image to your course to get started here. So then we click OK. Now notice it put the image on the left-hand side. So if we want to change the image to the right-hand side, we can click on the image, select the image first, and then click on the image icon. And then we go here under Appearance, and we'll change it so it's aligned to the right-hand side. And then click on Update, click OK again, and then click on Save Changes. So again, you click on the icon here, or just simply review the video, just rewind it. So that's changing the course heading. Now let's say we want to add the syllabus for this course. To add the syllabus, it's a couple ways to do it. One of them, I'll show you the longer way that will always work for you. So in this case, I have my syllabus and other stuff here on the desktop, and it's a folder called Sample Course. So I have my syllabus and all that other stuff. It's also recommended that you actually use or post the syllabus in PDF format instead of Word format. So here's my syllabus, and then I want to post this. So to post it, of course, we make sure the editing is turned on in the course, and I'll show you first way, the long way. So we want to click on Add an Activity or a Resource. Notice you can do that for each block, but we want to do it here in the very top of the course. We click on Add an Activity, then we scroll down, and our syllabus, technically it's a file that we want to upload. So we click on File, then click on Add, and then we are going to give it a name. And then the description here for this item, we don't really need to worry about it, but usually you'd want to put a description. And then over here, you want to add the content or add the file. So again, we are doing this manually. We could even drag and drop it here, but for now we are going to do this manually. So we click on Add, and then we click on Choose File. So this process at this point, it's very similar to attaching a file to an email as an attachment. So now I go here under my sample course, I go to Course Syllabus, this is in PDF, then I click Open, and then click on Upload this file. At this point, technically I could simply click on Save and Return to the course and it's done. However, I can go here under Appearance and I can change stuff in here. So force download, it will make the students, it will actually download. As soon as they click on the file, the students will be able to download it, even if they have pop-up blockers or things of that nature. You can also choose to open it in a pop-up and open in other options, but usually suggest either click on Open here or force download. And at this point, we go back here and choose Save and Return to the course. We could click Save and Display, but for now we're going to go back to the course. So notice at this point, the syllabus has been posted. So click on Course Syllabus. This is what the student will get. They'll click on Course Syllabus here. They'll ask them where do you want to save it. I'll save it on the desktop for now. I'll click on Save, and it's going to download it, and there it is. So that was basically posting the course syllabus. Okay, so we are back to the course here. So let's assume that I want to post the syllabus, but I want to post it the easier way. That was the long way. So I'm going to actually delete it here for a moment. So click, by the way, to delete something or tinker with something, you can click here on the delete next to each item, and then, or edit next to each item, and then you could do a bunch of other things with this. Now we click on delete here, yes, and it's gone. Now to add the syllabus, an easier way, or any of the resources for that matter, is that you can actually drag and drop them. So you basically make sure that editing is turned on in the course. We have all these little icons. Then the way it works is that you can bring up your files, just basically have the box or the window with your files on top of the e-learning page here, and then simply select the file and then just drag it to your course. You shouldn't have to do anything else. It's posted, it's ready to go. And you can do this for any other resources as well, for lectures and things of that nature. So that's how easy it is to post the course syllabus. So in this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to customize the resources for week 1. And how to add additional content to this section. Because after you uploaded your syllabus to your course page, you then want to start outlining week 1 and post all the resources for week 1, because as I mentioned in the very beginning, everything is kind of sequential. You have all the stuff for week 1 and then all the stuff for week 2 and week 2 and so on. So in this case, we make sure that editing has been turned on in the course page, and then we scroll down. So we want to change this from topic 1 to week 1. We click on this edit summary icon here, and then we want to go and change the section name. Notice right now we can't type anything in there. So we uncheck use default section name, and we call this week 1. So let's say that, and let's say the topic, you could even list the topic that you're going to cover. And then down in the summary here, you potentially want to either have something like a summary of what you're going to cover that week, or you could list in there the learning objectives for that week and things of that nature. And so on and so on. So remember, you can also customize this so that it will be bold and so on. Now, if you do not have the 3 rows of icons here, the trick to enabling that is by clicking on this first icon here, and that will give you the additional icons. Now, click on Save Changes, and the content for topic 1 has been updated here. So notice it says week 1, September 1 through 6, and the learning objectives and all that stuff. Now, let's suppose that we want to add the first lecture. So to add the first lecture, you can either reference the previous video on how to add the syllabus, and you can do that the long way by clicking on Add an Activity or Resource, and then browse for the file and attach it. Again, review the previous video. Or you can drag and drop it. So meaning you go to your files. So in this case, I have sample course here, and let's say my PowerPoint is this one. I have this lecture 1, let's say. So I go over here and I simply drag it. So as long as my box here is on top of the e-learning page, or if you have 2 monitors, just have one window on one side and just drag it across the monitors to the course page. So the trick again is drag it and just let it go. It'll be uploaded to the system and it's ready for the students to view it at this point. If you do not like the title of this lecture, you can change it also from here. Notice this little pencil, edit title, and you could say lecture 1, and then simply hit enter. If you click somewhere else, it's not going to change the name for you. So notice there is lecture 1. Now let's say we wanted to add additional files in here. So again, the process is the same. You simply go and drag it over here. You can also drag multiple files at the same time. So let's say I want this first one, this one, and that one. So in this case, I'm holding the control key to select them separately, but however you select your stuff. Now, since they are all selected, simply drag them over here, and it's going to upload them all at the same time. Now notice when I upload an image, it's going to expand that image to be larger. So in this case, you may want it, you may not want it there, but if I don't want it there, I can simply click on Edit here and then choose Delete. So now notice we have here a bunch of resources. I would call those resources for the students. They'll simply be able to click on them, open them up, and download them and all that type of stuff. So it's better than nothing. It's not enhanced yet, but better than nothing. So that's basically uploading resources here. And this was just documents and so on. The next step in your development of your course is to post additional content for your students to view. So in this case, let's assume that we are going to have here a little sticker that will post something, reading, or to, let's say, just list the reading for that week. The way we do that is by clicking on Add an Activity or a Resource, and then we'll scroll down here and we'll choose this option for a label. The label option is very similar to like a post-it note on the course page. So here we just put the text for this label. And you, of course, can make things different colors and customize this the same way that we did in the previous videos. Now click on Save and Return to the course. And it has been listed in here. This, by the way, can be longer as well. Now notice the reading for the week, it's kind of down here, further at the bottom of the course. If we want to move this to be the first one, you simply hold the mouse on it and on this icon in front of the item and simply drag it to wherever you want it. You can even drag it across blocks here as well. Now, if you want these videos to be indented as well, you can click here on Edit and then choose Move to the Right, and that will indent them accordingly. So you could have a section here, readings for the week, resources for the week, assignments for the week, and so on, by simply using those label options. So that was using a label, adding a label and rearranging the items in the course. The next step in developing a course in e-learning is to add links to various YouTube videos or resources out there on the web. And I'm going to demonstrate here a couple different options. One, to link to an article, whether it's a library system article or whether it is a video from YouTube as well. So let's first link to a library article. So first we go here under, we want to find the link to the article. So let's say we go to library.cairn.edu and then find, by the way, this is a great resource for your students and your research. You simply type the name of the article here. And of course, there's a lot of stuff here. Notice it's 112,000 or 120,000 articles and so on. But basically, you find the article and you copy the link to it. So notice here, however you find the links, basically you can either copy the URL, well, let's say it's from CNN.com or wherever the article is. Go to the full text article here as well. Notice full text PDF. And now in this case, we want to post for the students a direct link to it. So the direct link, this is a permanent link. Of course, it's a library resource, but we'll click on permanent link here. This is best. Usually you'd copy the URL from the top of the page. So in this case, just the link here on the right-hand side. And then you'll copy it, Control-C. We'll go back to the course that we were working at. And now we want to insert that link as a resource for the students. Now we click here and we scroll all the way to the bottom and we choose URL. Click on Add, and then we want to post a name for it. So we'll say article. You could put a description, and if you post a description, you can also choose to display the description here on this page. And I'm going to post it to the front page here, and this is where you post the external URL. I'm going to Control-V to paste it, and notice it has all these, the URL basically. Now under the appearance, this is where you can choose to display it automatically, or you can just open it in a pop-up, or simply direct the students to open it, and so on. So any of those options should be fine. Now we click on Save and Return to the course, and that link to the article has been posted here. So notice this is the link to the article, this is the explanation. Students will click on it, it will take them directly to the article. And it works in a very similar way for any web articles out there. In this case, we also don't have to worry about copyright because we are linking whether to the library resources or to the web. So the next step in our development of the course here is the linking of a YouTube video, or posting a link to a YouTube video in our course page, let's say for week 1. So in this case, what we need to do is, and this is, I find it easier, basically simply go to YouTube and find the link to your YouTube video. So for example, I have here, I did a search for supercomputers, and I want to post this video for the students as for them to watch this video. Basically, one of the easiest ways would be to simply copy the URL on the top, very similar to the article in the previous video. Then we go to our test course here, and then we click on add an activity or a resource. We scroll all the way to the bottom, and this is again a URL to a video out there. So this is the first method. So we click here on URL, and then we give it a name here. Okay, and you could put a description for it if you want, and then post the external URL from here. Then you can choose the appearance here, how you want to present it. You could also embed it, this option, it will embed it in the course page. You click on save and return to the course. And when the student clicks on it, so we'll click on it. Notice, since we chose the option to embed it, the student will actually see and watch, the student will watch that video directly from e-learning without having to go to YouTube and see all these other advertisements on the right-hand side. The student has to simply click on play. So that was the option. After we gave the URL, we actually chose to embed it. So that's posting a link to a YouTube video. There is also another way to post it on the main course page, but that will be for another video. Now the next thing that I want to show here is, and this might be the question, as new faculty using this system is, well, what do the students see? How do I know that the students are seeing what I have over here? So to see what the students see, what you can do is you can go under administration here and see and switch your role to the student role. So notice there is switch role to, click on student, and then anything that you see in here, this is what the students see. So if you have hidden an item, so now let me go back to the normal role, which would be my teacher role here. If I go, let's say, and hide one of those items, and by the way, this is how you hide components in the course. So you click on turn editing on, and then let's say I want to hide lecture 1. Click on hide, and notice it's kind of grayed out. That means it's not going to be displayed to the students. Even though you see it, it's not going to be displayed to the students. So now if I go and switch my role here under administration to the student role, that lecture 1 will not show up. So it's important to check this option. So notice it doesn't even appear whatsoever for the student view. Now let's return back to the normal role, and let's make sure that we enable it. So to enable it, you turn editing on in the course, and then scroll down, and here we click on edit and then choose to show it. So that's basically the functionality to view the course from a student's point of view, as well as hide and show a resource within the course. It works the same way for other activities that I'll be displaying in a moment or demonstrating in a moment. In this brief session, I'm going to demonstrate how to configure the gradebook in e-learning. And before we get too excited, if you're watching this video sequentially from the whole tutorial, I'm going to deviate a little bit here and configure the gradebook, because it's important that you understand how to configure the gradebook. And it's best to configure it in the beginning of the course and then tweak it toward the end of the course, rather than leaving it for the last minute and not having it configured whatsoever. So just a quick idea here to get to the grades or the way things work basically in e-learning. Basically, in order for something to show up in the gradebook, you need to create an activity on the course page here. So far, all of these are resources. We are not really grading the students on any of these. Activities are basically assignments, forums, or quizzes and exams, or even lessons that may have questions in them. So again, the idea is to create the item over here, then it trickles down to the gradebook. Well, you'd say, well, where is the gradebook? How do I view the gradebook? The gradebook is here under administration, and you click on grades. And notice it lists student names here. I don't have much in there, but this is how it would show up for a real class. And then this is where all the assignments would show up all the way to the right-hand side. So we don't have any assignments. We don't have any other things in the course. However, we are going to configure the gradebook. So why do we want to do it now? It's because you tell the system that I'm going to have exams, I'm going to have quizzes, I'm going to have papers, and you tell the system how many percent. Then when you create the assignment, then you can point it to the right category of items. And this will make sense in a moment, so still hang in there if you can, please. So to set it up, all you have to do is, after we go to the grader report here, we click on Setup. Notice there's an option over here in the left or in the very top here under the grader report. Now we are going to set up the gradebook. Notice there's not much now. You'd say, where do I get started? To get started, or your starting point would be based off the syllabus, because that's where the assignments trickle down from your course syllabus. So what you need to do is you need to go to your syllabus, and usually in your syllabus, one of the sections, it will demonstrate how the students are going to demonstrate learning, that they actually grasp what they have to study in this course. So notice here we have weekly quizzes and lesson reflections. Those are going to be 10% of the grade. That's one category. It could be 13 quizzes, it could be 7 quizzes, but that's only 10% of the grade. Then we're going to have 2 exams, and those are going to be 30% of the course grade. And then we're going to have an e-portfolio, and that's going to be 10%, and so on and so on. So in this case, what you need to do is look at this section in your syllabus and basically map those into your gradebook in e-learning. So let's try this. I'm going to try to do a split screen here and also here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to just overlap them a little bit. And now at this point, what we want to do is, you can, by the way, print this out for your sake. Now you click here on Add Category. And then we give it a category name. So our category, the first one will be Quizzes. And make it kind of match the syllabus. Now, that's the title of the category. Now we are going to say, what about the aggregation or the calculation, I would say? How is the system going to calculate the grades? Well, by default here it says weighted mean of grade. That means it's going to calculate them. Quiz 1 is going to be 10%, it's going to be more than the second one and all that type of stuff. However, that's kind of more complicated. My suggestion would be that you change this to simple weighted mean of grades. This is very important. This is where you'll get lost. This is where it'll cause trouble for your configuration of your gradebook. Choose simple weighted mean of grades on the drop down here at the category level. At the course level, it needs to be weighted mean of grades. At the category level, it needs to be simple weighted mean of grades. This is where you can also drop the lowest grade if you want. So if you have 10 quizzes and you want to drop the first one, or 2 of them, or not the first one, but drop the lowest one, this is where you tell the system how many of them you want to drop. Now your question would be, well, how does the system know which one is the lowest one? The system knows for each student which one is the lowest grade, and it'll drop it automatically. So here we could say drop the lowest one, but for now I'm not going to choose it. and then maximum grade, minimum grade, leave all of those alone, and basically simply click on Save Changes for now. We're not going to put this 10% anywhere yet. So the next thing that you do is you scroll down here and you choose Add Another Category. We click on Add Category. The next category, if we look in the syllabus, it's the exams. So we don't say 2 exams, we just say exams. Again, the aggregation or aggravation, as some say, it's simple weighted mean of grades. Then click on Save Changes, leave everything else alone, and that's done so far. The next one is Add Category. We go here to, let's say, ePortfolio. Even though it's one item, make that simple weighted means of grades also create its own category for it. Next one, it's going to be homework assignments. So we click on, scroll down here, Add Category, and then homework. Simple weighted mean, save category. The last one here, actually this has more, but it has, let's say, course forums. And again, this depends from course to course. Simple, and then save. And then finally, research project. Simple weighted, save changes. Now that we created these, the next thing, notice here on the right hand side, and I'm going to change this just slightly to make it bigger. Notice on the right hand side, notice we created all the categories, but now it says for the weights it's 0. So this is where we put the weights. Now this is the first one, it's at 10%. Just put 10 in there. You don't have to do 0.10 or 0.1 or whatever. Just do 10%, just like in your syllabus. The next one, it says 2 exams are going to be 30%, so just put 30. That's another area where a lot of faculty get stuck. And then the next one, it's 10%. The next one was 10. The next one, it was 20. And the research project was going to be, the forums were 15, I think, and the last one was 15. So all of those, if you add all of these weights up, they should add up to 100%. So click on Save Changes, and at this point, the gradebook has been configured. What will happen is that when you create the assignments in a moment here or in the next video, when you create the assignment, you choose and specify which category in the gradebook that assignment falls under. So when we go to quizzes here and we create a quiz, that's going to show up directly under the quiz category here because we selected the quiz category. That's the reason why you want to create the gradebook first and not leave it for the very last minute. You can do it at the very last minute, however, the student will not know the accurate grade until you have configured things correctly. And doing it this way, it will be reflected correctly from the start of your course. So, at this point, the gradebook has been configured. There's not really much that seems to have changed as far as the main gradebook report area, but the trick is if we go here under Setup, this is where we have laid out the framework or the scaffolding for the house. So that's where we are. So that's configuring the gradebook. Stay tuned. Now we'll create an assignment in the next video to enhance our course. In this brief session, I'm going to explain how to add an assignment, a regular assignment, to e-learning, to your course in e-learning. So in the earlier video, we configured the gradebook. Keep that in mind. It's important to configure the gradebook first. So now we go back to the course. By the way, to go back to the course, we can just click on the title of the course here. It will take us back to the course page. Make sure you turn editing on the course page. Usually it will be like that. So we want it, turn it on. And then now in week 1, we want to create for the students. We had them review those lectures. We were in class. You can post also video lectures as well. And we post a YouTube video and other supplemental material. Now the students are going to be doing an assignment for you. So to add an assignment, these are the steps. Basically, you click here on add an activity or a resource, and the first item here is the assignment option. We click on add, and then click on assignment name. Just give it a name. So let's say for assignment 1, you want the students to write a reflection paper, and just put the details on the description. That's where you want to put all the details for your assignment. The more details, the better it is, the clearer it's going to be for the students as to what they have to complete and all that type of thing. So outline everything the way you want them. You could also post source additional files for them to reference, and you just drag and drop them in there. So if you wanted them to have additional, just drag them in there. Then under availability, I don't recommend that you put due dates in here. You can just specify, because then you forget to put the due dates for next time that you're teaching the course. So if you're going to use the due dates, make sure that they are accurate and they are maintained from semester to semester. If you wanted to enable it, you can simply click on it and choose whatever date and time. It's important to understand that after the due date, depending on how you set up the system here, the students may not be able to submit anything, and they will bug you with email. So under the submission types, the file submissions, that means that's the default setting. That means that the students are going to upload a file, very similar to attaching it via email. It's just going to click on browse and just upload it. Under online text, this is where the students will type the text online, and then you just have to go and view it. It's not going to be formatted in a nice way, but it's just going to be online text. That's where you can limit certain words. If you chose online text, you could say I want 300 words. Number of files to be uploaded. Usually, typically, it's only one file that the students have to be uploading, but you might, if you have more, this is where you change it. Under feedback types, all of this stuff you shouldn't really have to change much. So you can leave that alone. Under submission settings, you can even leave those alone as well. And then under the group submission settings, if you have groups in your class, this is where you can define whether the students have to submit in groups, yes or no, and all that type of thing, but that will be another video for another time. And then under notifications, notify graders about submissions. That means every time a student submits a paper, you get to receive an email that the student submitted the paper. So usually what I suggest is that you leave this as a no and leave the next option here as a yes. So the way that works is that if you set a deadline up here for the due date and the students uploaded the assignment after the due date, then you can receive an email. And I know that I just referenced earlier that we shouldn't set due dates. You can set due dates as long as you keep up with them. And then under grade, this is key. This is where you tell the system how you're going to grade this paper. Typically, papers are graded using points, like against 100 points or whatever point system that you use. Or you can use, as I'll demonstrate potentially in a little bit, a rubric. So this will be against points, and it's going to use a direct grading method, meaning they scored 90 points out of 100. 88 out of 100 or whatever they scored. The other grading method is to use a rubric, and that's the more preferred way. However, to choose that, you have to create and define the rubric for that assignment as well, which is not a bad idea to do anyway. So for now, I'm just going to do it simple. We gave it a name on the top. We posted dates, due dates, if we chose to do so. Then under here, under the grade, we tell the system how many points we are going to grade it against. Now, my suggestion is that if it's a small assignment, you don't make the maximum points 100 points. Because when we configure the gradebook, remember we did the simple weighted mean of grades. That's what we used earlier. So that means that if the big papers and the small papers are all 100 points, then all are equal. My suggestion is that if it's a small paper, maybe choose maximum points. It would be 20. But then if it's a 5-page paper, 10-page paper, that would be the 100-point paper. Now, down here, notice under the grade category, notice how you have these categories now? Those are the categories because we configured the gradebook in the previous video. If you didn't watch that, go back and watch that again, how to create the gradebook. But now this is easy. We can just choose homework assignments, and in the gradebook it's going to be under homework assignments. And then here other options, you get put grade to passed and all that type of stuff. Restrict access and so on. I wouldn't put too many restrictions because then if you have the wrong settings, you're going to create more problems for yourself. Under activity completion, this is where you can, and I explained this in the very beginning of the tutorial, this is where the student can either mark this as completed by putting a check mark on their end, or you can make it conditional so that it will be marked complete only when certain criteria are met. For example, the student has to view it first, then they have to receive a grade for it, or they have to submit to it, and all these other stuff. But be cautious of dates. Now, if we are all set and done, we click on Save and Return to the course. And that assignment has been created for the students. So the students now can click on it, and they'll see the assignment here. So these will be the requirements. There's a file that they have to view for it, and then you'll be able to go and grade this stuff for the students. So that was creating an assignment. Now, let me go back here and I'll show you the gradebook. So now if we go to the gradebook, here under grades, we'll notice here that under the setup for the gradebook, first your assignment is over here under homework assignments. But if we go here under setup, you'll notice that under homework assignments, we have assignment number 1. Again, this was because when we configured it, this assignment, we chose the category under the grade area, the category to be under homework assignments. Now, another thing to remember as well, since before I end this tutorial on just creating a regular assignment, is also remember, if it's an important assignment, remember to also utilize the Turnitin module. Now the Turnitin module, it's an add-on module, a paid module to e-learning or Moodle in this case. But remember to also create a Turnitin activity as well for that specific paper. This kind of avoids or prevents to some extent plagiarism and acts as a deterrent. So to add a Turnitin assignment, I'm going to demonstrate this very briefly without going into very many details. You simply click on Add an Activity or Resource. You click on Turnitin Assignment. Ignore this version 2 for now. You click on Add. And you just say, and we usually choose this wording, a reflection paper originality check. And then under the summary, we say, please upload your assignment So basically what the student is going to do is they're going to upload the assignment twice. Once for you to grade it, once to be checked against Turnitin. I know in Turnitin as well you can grade it directly from there and all that type of stuff, but for the sake of simplicity, it works best this way, at least from our experience. Now, under grade here, you don't want to have points assigned to the Turnitin assignment. In this case, you just click on None, and then scroll down, and then click on Save and Return to the course. So that was creating an assignment in e-learning. Hopefully that makes sense. In some cases, we recommend that you click here, Edit, and move it to the right. Now in this session, I'm going to demonstrate how to grade submitted assignments from students. So when a student signs in, this is what they usually see. They log in here as to their test account, and they see whatever you have posted in the course. Now under assignment 1, they'll click on reflection paper, they'll see the details for it, and they'll have a button to click on Add Submission. Under Add Submission, they have to certify that this is their own work, and then they have to simply drag and drop the file that they worked on. So here they can click on Add, choose Browse, and then locate the work that they did. So here's sample course, and for now I'm just going to pick any of these things here. And then click on Upload this file. They could also have dragged and dropped it here as well, and then Save Changes. Now for you as the instructor, as you're getting those assignments, now the question is, how do you grade those papers? Where do you go to grade them, and so on? So now I'm going to minimize this, and I'm going to go back to our course as a teacher. In the previous moments here I was as a student, now I'm going to go in as a teacher and make sure, actually you don't need to turn editing on, but you could if you wanted to. Now you go to the assignment, and this is the proper way of grading the assignments. You go under assignment 1, and then it has all the details about it. Now notice in here you have this option for View Grade All Submissions. So click on it, and in here you'll see all the students in your course, and also see the assignments that have been uploaded by the different students. Now a couple ways of doing the grading here. One of the things is that you can enable quick grading here, and you have to do this once in your computer, and then you'll notice these checkboxes. So you basically could click in here, open up the document, read their paper, and then put your grade right there. That's one way. It's kind of the quickest way, but not really the most recommended way. Now, what we do suggest is that you actually go to wherever your papers start, and you click on this little pencil or grade icon here. So you click on it, and then notice in here it gives you a lot of details, and here's the assignment from the student. You'll click on it to download it. I'm going to save it. And then you'd basically open it up. And then let's assume that this is their paper. Now, the next thing that we suggest about doing here is that you go here under Review, and then insert comments in the paper. So you can highlight a sentence and so on, click on Insert Comment, and then just add whatever comments they want. That you want. So basically you are grading this in an electronic way, making notes and all that type of thing. Now if you have a tablet PC as well, you can here under inking, there's this option for inking. You can also use the pen like this to highlight stuff. And then once you're done, you click on Save here. You can give it a new name, but remember where you saved it to start with. I had it on the desktop at this point. So now let's assume I'm done grading this. I could put another comment here on the very top and go under Insert Comment. By the way, Microsoft Word for you might look slightly different. This is a very newest 2016 version of it. But it's the same idea. Under Review, Add New Comment, and then you could say Grade 89 out of 100, or if you remember, for this assignment we had done it against 20 points, so this would be 17 out of 20. So keep that in mind as well. And then save it. Now we go back here to our system and we post the grade. So we post here 17 out of 20, notice. And then you also can post some additional comments. So you could either post all the comments right here, or you could say see attached or feedback file for comments. Because what we're going to do is, and this is the proper way of grading assignments, we are going to actually upload then the graded paper back to the student. So we can either drag it from here. So if I go here to desktop, there's my paper, drag it and drop it over here. Or we could have attached it by clicking on this icon and adding it in there and all that type of stuff. Notice it's going to send an email to the student to notify them. And then the next thing to do here is, we're pretty much almost done with this student. We click on save and show the next. So that means save the grade, email the student, and show me the next student. Now in this case, the next student didn't submit anything, so we give them a 0. So if somebody didn't submit something, it's time to grade them. Just give them a 0, no assignment submitted. And then save and show the next, and all of that type of stuff. So that's the proper way of grading them. Now what happens is that the student got an email, the student can go back and see their feedback. So if I go back here as a student, this is what the student will see. It says it is graded, and the grade was 17 out of 20. It was a B. And then it says feedback comments. And then if they click on this, they'll see all the comments that you sent to them via that feedback file. Notice it has all the red scribbling and the comments here and all that type of stuff. So that's the proper way of grading the papers. Now the other thing that happens is that if we go back here to our course and we go to the gradebook, you don't have to enter anything anymore in the gradebook. So if I go to the grades, notice the grades have been entered for those 2 students automatically in here, and also the student will know what their grade looks like for the whole course as they are moving from one point to the other month in the semester. So this is the best way to grade it. Again, grade it from the main course page rather than entering the grades directly into the gradebook. If you enter grades directly here into the gradebook, you're overriding the actual grade for that assignment. It's like the store manager overriding the price for some item there. So that's grading assignments. In this next session, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up attendance in your course. So we go to the course and we click on Turn Editing On. By the way, the attendance module is not standard part of the Moodle installation. It is actually an add-on that is one of the plugins that one can add, like an administrator can add, a system administrator can add to the system. So once it has been added to the system and that option is available, you need to create pretty much one instance or one activity called attendance. So now we click here on Add an Activity after we have turned editing on in the course. We click on Add an Activity or a Resource, and then we choose Attendance. We click on Add, and then we have to give it some parameters. We're going to tell it that it's going to be called Attendance. You can also choose to have points to grade the attendance or participation in the course. In this case, in most cases, most faculty don't assign points to it, so we're going to change it to no grade for it. And then we're going to click on Save and Return to the course. Of course, I can click Save and Display. So now we choose Save and Return to the course, and we'll have a new item here on the very top of the course called Attendance. We click on it, And now we need to configure it. It's very similar to like when we create quizzes or we create a forum. You first tell the system it's going to be a forum with all the parameters, then we actually go and add the content or what the requirements will be within that forum. Now the next thing that we need to do for our course is, because the system is not smart enough to know when your class meets, is that we need to add the sessions that you're meeting with your class. So what you do is, the easiest is to click on the Add tab here, and then click on Create Multiple Sessions. Also, if you want the students to record their own attendance, you can enable that option as well. And by the way, this is new in the recent release. So then we choose the sessions. So we say it's going to be the 1st of September, and I'm going to choose 2016 here. And then you say the class is going to start at 9 a.m. and then it's going to end. So you tell the ending date, let's say the 16th of December of 2016. Of course, you choose the right dates here. So you're telling the system, my class starts on such date and it ends on such date for the semester. Then you tell the system that my class also meets on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And it meets once a week. So leave this alone to once a week. You don't meet multiple times at this frequency here. And then under description, you could just put their regular class. And then you scroll down and you choose Add Session. So what it's going to do here, before I click on Add Session, it's going to actually match them based on these dates on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and it's going to create all those instances for you to be able to take attendance. So now we click on Add Session, click on Continue, and now if we go here under Sessions, and we click here on the All option, notice we'll have all the different sessions created for this course. Now, one thing to keep in mind here is that this date here, it's a European format or Australian, because this system, it's actually based off Australia, and we have not tinkered with it to customize it to be the US date format. So what this means is the day, the month, and the year. So keep that in mind. And then next, in the next video, I'm going to explain how to actually take attendance. But we are done with configuring attendance for this course. So again, all it had to be done was one instance of it, and then just tell what days and times your course meets. In this brief session, I'm going to demonstrate how to take attendance in your course. Once you have configured attendance, and if you have not done so, then just watch the video on configuring attendance in e-learning. So we click here on attendance, we go to the course, we click on attendance, and now let's assume that the class is in progress. So what we do is we basically bring this up on the screen or on our computer in the classroom, and then let's assume we're going to take attendance for the 2nd of September 2016. Of course, I'm putting this a year in advance so that when you watch it a year from now, this video, it will be kind of up to date. So notice here that the format of the date, it's slightly different. It's not US, so it's day 1st, month 2nd, and the year 3rd. So then here we click on the green button to take attendance. We'll need to click on the green button here to take attendance. And then what that suggests is these are all the students in the class. Of course, it's a test class here. So what that suggests is if you have a class with 30 students, mark everybody present in the course. So you have P here for present, L for late, E for excused, and then A for absent. And then you have these options here for remarks to make notes for yourself and so on. So what I'll do is mark everybody present by pressing P, and then either call everybody's name or figure out who is missing in the class and then mark them as absent for that course. And you could put notes here as well. Then click on Save Attendance, and the attendance for that session has been taken. This is advantageous as well because a student at any point in time, they can see how many times they have been absent in that class. Now, once you have taken attendance for that session, notice that the date here, it's hyperlinked. And if we wanted to change anything, we could either click on this little button. Notice how it has changed now. It says Change Attendance. Or we could click on the actual date here. Notice the other ones, we can't click on them. If you click on the date, you can change the attendance. And let's say you mark this guy late. He just showed up. And then click on Save Attendance. And that's updated at this point. So that's how you update a record in your attendance. Now, what you can also do is that you can review a report here by clicking on the report option, and you'll be able to see a snapshot of all the students and all the days in the course for all your students. The other thing that you can do is you can choose to export this data into an Excel file or however you want for a specific range. And then you can also change the settings for your attendance, like you can tinker with these settings as well. So that's how you take attendance in your course, and hopefully it was helpful. In this next session, I'm going to demonstrate how to contact students in the course, basically how to send an alert to all the students in your course. Traditionally, faculty would go to under participants and send an email from there and so on. However, the easiest way for each course is to use the news forum over here in the very top of the course. So you could even rename this and to say, instead of news forum, you can click on this little pencil after you turn editing on in the course, and you could just call this course announcements. And then simply hit enter. And you just tell the students that for all the course announcements, they will be posted on the top of the course. Then to send an alert to the students, you can do it a couple ways. You can click on the course announcements item here or on the news forum item, and then click on add a new topic. You just click on and then type the message. And basically you just add the details as to whatever your message is, or class canceled and so on. And then you could add attachments if you wanted to, and then you can click on Mail Now. Then you post it to the forum, and basically what this will do is it'll keep track of all the announcements that you sent throughout the semester to the students, as well as an email will go out to the students in the course. And the email will go out within 30 minutes maximum. So again, that is the advantage of using this, is that the system keeps a copy of this message or of this alert that you sent to the students or this announcement, and also they'll get an email with it. So now if we go back here to the course page, the other option to send an alert is by going to, by the way, using the same module, by going here under latest news, this block, most likely it's lower down in your page, and you can click on add a new topic and pretty much submit something similar to that. Once that is added, it will show up in the course announcements area or the news forum area, and also it will show up in the latest news block here on the course page. So that's how you contact the students in your course. In this brief video, I'm going to demonstrate how to back up grades in e-learning. So throughout the semester, as you're keeping track of assignments and grades in e-learning, it is also important to keep a copy of those grades offline. Particularly, you want to do this step at the end of each semester to keep a record of those grades for accreditation purposes or for evaluation of the courses years down the road. So the way you back up the grades is fairly simple. You go to the course itself, and then you go under grades here, you click on grades, And in my case here, I do not have a lot of grades, but at least you get the idea. So now here's a listing of all the students with all their grades for this specific course. Then what you do is you click here under the grader report, you click on export, and notice it's on both places here. You click on export, and then we want to download those grades in Excel format. So notice it's picking everything up automatically, so leave everything alone basically. And under format options, you can choose what type of grade to export. My suggestion would be that you export at least the real grade, which would be the actual score that they got in that paper, and also at some point maybe the letter grade as well. So you might have to run this process twice. So basically, let's go here and click on download, and then it's going to ask me where do I want to save those. Of course, save them somewhere where it's safe and secure and so on, because student grades and the FERPA and all that type of thing, so keep that in mind. I'm going to save them on the desktop here because it's nothing valuable, and it's downloaded. And now if I click to open it in Excel, it will display all the student grades, and this is the actual values that the students scored in the course. Notice it's not giving me the grade letters and so on. One thing before you go any further, before you save this file finally, is to delete the student ID number, and just select the column here and press delete. And then save it. That is for minimizing the FERPA requirements there. So that's basically downloading the grades, and you keep a copy of those grades for whatever time and date you may need them. The other thing that you can do, if you go back here to grades, let's say you wanted to download the actual letter grades that they got, you click on export here after you go to grades, and then you scroll down, and you can choose to select them all or none. Under export options, you can choose here to download the letter grade. So you click on the letter here, click on download, it will bring it up in Excel. You can give it a meaningful name, and then open it up. And now you'll have a record of those grades with the actual grade letters. These come in handy because you get to see what they scored for the course total in that semester. So that's how you do it. It's important to do it throughout the semester, and also it's important to do it at the end of every semester to keep a record of these grades for your dean, for your school, and for accreditation purposes. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate the process for posting the final grades in self-service. So at the end of each semester, the grades need to be posted, taken from e-learning, and the final grades need to be posted on self-service for faculty. So here's the process. So basically, you go under grades here in your course, and then make sure that the grades in this course, that no students have missing grades. And I would suggest that you put a 0 if a student is missing any grade, any wherever, if they deserve it, of course. You put a 0 throughout the course here to make sure that the grade book is going to be up to date, because by default, any missing grades are not counted as a penalty for the students. So make sure that there are no missing grades or they get a 0. It's best to give them a 0 when they have missed the work, and that will also make them do the work or do something about the 0 that they got. So let's assume now that these are going to be the final grades. We have configured the grade book correctly. If you're not sure whether you did it, reference the video on configuring the grade book. You have set up the grade letters correctly. Check the video for that as well if you need to. But let's assume that these are the final grades. So what you do is you take note of these grades from here, and then you go and enter the grades in self-service. Notice you have this link here for self-service and submit final grades. So we need to log in here to self-service, and then we log in. Once we log in, you'll have access to the courses that you're teaching. For example, you're teaching Summer 2015. You'll click here under the course, and then we go down. Now, these are all the student names. And now we have the final grades for this course. Now, typically, in this case, it says nothing posted, but we need to go here under my grade. It will be under the final area. So you have to do this at midterm and also at final grades. For midterm, it's only the failing grades. In this case, I do not have a drop down here for the final grades, but usually there will be drop downs like this in this area. So then we post the grade in there, whatever they got or deserved, and then press save. Now, if you are submitting the final grades, you'll have the save button here and the save final. So when you choose save final, that means that these grades have been finalized and they are being submitted, and they can no longer be changed, tweaked, or adjusted. So in that case, if you submitted them and you need to change something, you need to contact the registrar's office. So that's how it will work. Sorry, I cannot configure it or explain it or show it exactly what it would look like, because I don't have access to a course that will be live at this point in time to submit them. So then you click on Submit Final, and that's how you post the final grades. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to import the content from a course that you taught previously to a new semester, to a new course that you're teaching again another semester. So let's suppose that I have this course, eLearning 101, that I taught, let's say, in fall 2016. Of course, I'm working a little bit in the future here. But and now let's assume that it's fall 2017, and I'm teaching this course again, and I don't want all this work to go in vain, and I don't want to reinvent the wheel here, so I want to import this content to my new course that I'm teaching the new semester. So the question is, how do I go about it? Well, the way you do it is that you go to your new course. So I'm going to go here under Dashboard or to the eLearning homepage, however you get to your main course there. And I'm going to choose to show all my courses here in this case. So basically find my new course that I'm teaching. And my new course, it's very creative here, it's called New Course. That's to emphasize that we need to go to the new course that we are teaching, to the blank one. And then once we go to the blank course or to our new course, we want to go and import the content from the old one. So what we do is we go here under Administration, and then we click on Import. Under Import, then we go and find the course that we taught previously. So if you remember, our previous course was called Test Course. So we click on the test course here, and then we click on Continue. Now, if your course doesn't show up in this list, or this list is too long and it's just not there, you can search by the course code. So you could do, let's say, edu_101. And now, of course, that depends on how your system is set up, but here at Cairn, we use the 3-letter code _101. So edu, in this case, _101, or whatever it is, the course code. Then you click on Search, and then find the course that you're looking for. Make sure it's the right one, though, because once you import it, it's kind of difficult to get rid of all the content that you just brought over. So then you click on Continue here, and the next step is to tell the system what do you want to bring over. Now in this case, I want to bring over everything. So leave everything alone and just click on Next. If you're sure that it's everything without confirming any stuff, you can click to jump to the final step, but we're going to go slowly here. We'll click on Next. Then it's going to ask us, do we want to leave anything over in the old course, not bring it over? So in this case, I don't really need the syllabus from the old course. And if I don't need something else, I can simply uncheck it and not bring it over. So let's say I don't want the live chat and so on. So Then you can check or uncheck other items in the course and scroll all the way to the bottom and then click on Next. And now it's confirming. It's basically giving us one more chance to review what we want and what we don't. And then scroll all the way to the bottom. And then you click on Perform Import. Then it will bring, at this stage, it will take a few seconds, depending on how big your course is, and it will bring everything over exactly how it was in the semester that you taught it previously, including the gradebook configuration and the order of the items and all that type of stuff. So at this stage, just be patient, don't cancel it because it will break it. So once you import the course, you click on Continue. And at this point, notice it has everything exactly. It just says New Course here. It has everything exactly how we had it in the previous class. So now at this point, we can tweak things, we can change stuff, we can delete other items and so on and tweak them. To hide it from students, of course, you can just click on Hide Block once you tweak it or as you're working on it. By the way, we suggest that you hide any upcoming content in your course. So let's assume that your course is ready for the whole semester. There's no need to display all 13 or 16 weeks of content ahead of time. You can just display as you go. You display the information as you go through the semester. So let's say you're in week 3, you have the first 2 weeks displayed, but then the third week and on, you keep it hidden. So at this point, it's all good to go, and you can, like I said, you can customize it the way you want and so on. One cautious, and this is what I wanted to say, one thing to remember is that when you import a course, if you had due dates in there from previous semesters, all those due dates need to be updated on the various assignments to reflect the new dates, because there's nothing more frustrating from the students, other than getting an F for an assignment, I guess, to have an assignment say that it's past due when it's not even time yet to work on it. So the quickest way to check for due dates for your assignments is by clicking here under Activities, and you click on Assignments, and then you'll be able to see here where it says due date. Notice it says Thursday, the 13th of August. So then you can click on that assignment and tweak the dates in it. Then go back. So far we checked all the assignments in the course. Now you want to go back, and let's say you go to Forums and see if you have anything related that is due at a certain time and restrictions related to old dates. In this case, we don't see the times here. Then we go back, and I'll check also the lessons and the quizzes particularly. So basically just go through all of these activities and click on them. Particularly, let's see quizzes. And the quizzes, usually they would have, if we set deadlines and dates, they would be listed in one of the columns in there. So once we make sure that the dates are good to go, then the course is good to go, of course, changing the date wherever we have other references throughout the course. So that's how to import a course, and hopefully it was helpful.